Welcome to World Prism. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Norway is famous for two things: its pristine salmon and its role as host of the Nobel Peace Prize. For years these pillars, one economic, one moral, coexisted peacefully. That changed in 2010, when the Nobel Committee awarded the Peace Prize to Liu Xiaobo, a Chinese human rights activist. China saw this as a direct affront, despite Norway's insistence that the committee was independent. The response was swift. China unleashed a wave of unofficial sanctions, targeting Norway's prized salmon industry. Suddenly, a symbol of Norwegian excellence became collateral in a global power struggle. The fallout revealed a new reality. Economic ties can be weaponized, and even a nation's most celebrated exports can become pawns in geopolitical games. Norway's salmon would soon pay the price for a principled stand. Liu Xiaobo was a peaceful advocate for reform, not a revolutionary. He believed in the power of words and dialogue, urging the Chinese government to embrace gradual change rather than violent upheaval. His vision was one of a more open, tolerant society, where citizens could speak freely and participate in shaping their own future. He co-authored Charter 08, a bold manifesto calling for democracy and human rights in China. The document echoed the hopes of millions who longed for political reform, and it quickly gained international attention. For his activism, Liu was arrested and sentenced to a lengthy prison term, becoming a symbol of resistance for many both inside and outside China. The Nobel Committee's decision to award Liu the Peace Prize was a global endorsement of his ideals and a direct challenge to Beijing's authority. The empty chair at the ceremony in Oslo became a powerful image, representing not just Liu's absence but the silencing of dissent in China. China's reaction was immediate and uncompromising. Diplomatic meetings were cancelled, trade talks suspended, and Norwegian officials found themselves increasingly isolated on the world stage. The message from Beijing was unmistakable: crossing China would have consequences. The message was clear: Norway would be punished for the Nobel decision. The diplomatic chill was only the beginning, as China prepared to flex its economic muscle. But the real blow came economically. Norway's lucrative trade with China, especially in seafood, was suddenly at risk. The stakes were high for Norwegian exporters, who depended on access to the vast Chinese market. China didn't need formal sanctions. Instead, it used bureaucracy as a weapon. Norwegian salmon exports were strangled by customs delays, new inspections, and endless paperwork. Shipments that once moved swiftly, now languished at the border, caught in a web of red tape. Endless red tape made it nearly impossible for Norwegian salmon to reach Chinese consumers. Exporters watched in frustration as their products spoiled and business ground to a halt. The salmon industry, once thriving and proud, was about to become the main casualty in a high-stakes political standoff. Workers faced layoffs, and entire communities felt the impact of the diplomatic feud. Norway's most famous export was now a target in a geopolitical war, caught between the ideals of human rights and the realities of global power politics. Before the crisis, Norway supplied over 90% of China's fresh salmon. Direct flights delivered premium fish to eager Chinese consumers, fueling a booming trade. But after the Nobel announcement, everything changed. Norwegian salmon faced endless customs delays and sudden health inspections. Shipments spoiled on the tarmac while salmon from other countries sailed through unscathed. The so-called salmon wall of China was built from red tape, not bricks. Norwegian exporters watched their investments rot, locked out of a market they once dominated. The impact was devastating. Business models collapsed, supply chains broke, and confidence plummeted. The barriers were political, not scientific, an invisible blockade with real economic pain. Norway's salmon industry became a cautionary tale of how quickly trade can be weaponized. The thriving partnership was dismantled almost overnight. Norway's salmon market share in China collapsed from a dominant 92% to just 29% in only 3 years, a staggering reversal for what was once a thriving export powerhouse. The sudden drop sent shockwaves through the entire Norwegian seafood industry, which had come to rely on China as its most lucrative overseas market. Exports plummeted by over 90%, leaving warehouses full and production lines eerily silent. The industry lost billions in revenue almost overnight, and the effects rippled out to every corner of the country's seafood sector. The broader economy suffered too. A stalled free trade agreement with China blocked billions more in potential commerce, freezing opportunities for growth and innovation. Norwegian officials scrambled to repair relations, but the damage was already done. By 2016, Norway's exports to China were still 21% below expectations, a cumulative loss of over $5 billion. The numbers told a story of missed opportunities, and a market that had all but vanished. The psychological blow was just as severe. Norwegian businesses grew wary of China, fearing that political tensions could erupt again at any moment, putting their livelihoods at risk. The incident forced a nationwide reassessment of the risks of relying on a single, powerful trading partner. Companies and policymakers alike began to rethink their strategies, searching for ways to diversify and protect themselves from future shocks. Behind the numbers were real people, business owners, workers, and entire communities suddenly facing hardship. Small towns dependent on salmon exports saw jobs disappear, and local economies falter. The lesson was clear: no industry is immune when politics trumps trade. Even the most successful exporters can find themselves vulnerable to forces beyond their control. Norway's salmon farmers paid a steep price for a decision made far from the fish farms. Their livelihoods were upended by events they could neither predict nor prevent. The cost was measured not just in lost fortunes and broken trust, but in the lasting uncertainty that now shadows Norway's once booming salmon industry. As Norway's once booming salmon exports dried up almost overnight, the global seafood market was thrown into disarray. With Norway sidelined, competitors from around the world saw a rare opening and rushed in to fill the void, eager to claim a share of the lucrative Chinese market. The UK and Chile quickly gained some ground, but the real, unexpected winner was the Faroe Islands, a tiny, windswept archipelago in the North Atlantic, better known for its dramatic cliffs and sheep than for dominating global trade. Before 2010, the Faroe Islands exported almost no salmon to China. Their fishing industry was small, and their presence in Asia was virtually non-existent, but their unique political status, autonomous, not part of the EU, and, crucially, not Norway, made them the perfect alternative for Chinese buyers suddenly cut off from Norwegian supply. The Faroes government saw an opportunity and moved swiftly. Chinese importers, eager to keep up with demand, pivoted almost overnight. The Faroese government responded by quickly negotiating and signing a free trade deal with China, opening the door to a new era of cooperation. As a result, Faroes' salmon exports to China exploded, growing at a staggering rate and even surpassing Norway's shipments by 2015. The Faroe Islands became a household name in Chinese seafood markets almost overnight. The irony was hard to miss: the same cold Atlantic waters, the same species of fish, but now a different flag on the box. Geography hadn't changed, but politics had rewritten the rules. The success of the Faroe Islands proved that the barriers to trade were never about the quality or safety of the salmon. Instead, it was all about politics, alliances, and timing. Norwegian producers could only watch in frustration as their tiny neighbors thrived in the very market they had lost. Their own boats left idle, while Faroese exports soared. The entire saga became a masterclass in geopolitical opportunism, showing how quickly fortunes can change when politics and trade collide. For Norway, it was a painful reminder that in the world of international trade, even the most established players can lose everything when principle comes before pragmatism. For 6 years, Norway and China's relationship was frozen. Oslo refused to apologize for the Nobel decision, citing the committee's independence, but economic pain forced quiet concessions. In 2014, Norwegian leaders declined to meet the Dalai Lama, a clear signal to Beijing. Behind the scenes, discreet talks paved the way for reconciliation. In December 2016, Norway's foreign minister traveled to Beijing, and both nations announced a full normalization of relations. Norway affirmed respect for China's sovereignty, and China noted Norway's deep reflection. The economic floodgates reopened almost immediately. Norwegian salmon returned to Chinese markets, and new deals were signed. The costly standoff ended, but the scars remained. With relations restored, Norwegian salmon exports to China soared, aiming for $1.45 billion by 2025. The partnership deepened, with joint ventures blending Norwegian technology and Chinese manufacturing. But the memory of the 6-year freeze lingered. The salmon saga is a warning for any nation reliant on trade with a powerful partner. China showed it can and will use economic leverage to punish perceived slights, even from independent bodies. The lesson: market access is conditional, and overdependence is risky. The story isn't unique to Norway. Other nations face similar vulnerabilities in critical sectors. For smaller countries, diversifying trade is essential. Norway's salmon farmers learned the hard way. In global politics, the tide can turn overnight.